the sacrum and the hips. This practice is appropriate for all levels. And as always, listen to your body. If something doesn't feel good, this is your body communicating with you. And adjust as you need to adjust so that this practice is beneficial. Begin in a seated, cross-legged position. Close your eyes, place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Take a moment to tap into your inner self. Arrive in your body in this moment. We'll take 3 breaths together. Accept whatever comes up without judgment. Observe rather than react, and stay present. Place your hands on your knees and start to gently tilt forward and back across the sitting bones. Inhale as you rock forward. Exhale as you scoop the tailbone under. Return to a neutral pelvis and make 3 big circles with your ribs. Doesn't matter which way you go first. After you've gone 3 times one way, reverse the direction and go 3 times the other way. Return to a neutral seat. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Make 3 circles with your ankles in one direction. And reverse the direction. Flex and point your toes. Bounce the backs of your legs against the ground. Bottoms of your feet against the ground. Feet as wide as shoulders. Drop the knees from side to side. Stack your knees over your ankles. Stack your hands beneath your shoulders. Point your fingers towards your body. Exhale, lift your hips up. Inhale, straighten out your legs and glide your hips back. Hover your hips between your wrists. 2 more times. Press up, stretch from your knees to your shoulders. Straighten the legs, glide back. 1 more time. Release your hips to the mat, cross your ankles, glide onto your hands and knees, spread your fingers wide, arch your back as you breathe in, tuck your toes, straighten your legs, lift your hips into downward facing dog. Take a moment to pedal your heels, stretch the back of one leg at a time, lengthen through your spine and your side body, relax your jaw, release the weight of your head. Open your feet as wide as your mat, angle your heels in and your toes outward. 3 times in each direction, sway the hips side to side. We're creating a movement in the sacrum here called nutation. Notice how the sacrum is moving in between the 2 halves of your pelvis. Keep your feet where they are. Reach your right hand across to your left ankle. Grab on. Lean your hips to the right. Look to the sky past your left hip. And gently swivel your shoulders as far to the left as you can, directing the gaze up toward the ceiling beyond your left hip. Return your right hand to the top of the mat. Do that same thing on the other side. Grab the opposite ankle. Lean your hips to the left. Look to the sky. Twist and decompress through your spine. Back to neutral with your hands. Step your feet as wide as your shoulders. Stay on your tiptoes the whole time. Use the muscles in your feet to push off of your toes. Glide through plank. Keep your elbows straight. Micro bend in the elbow. Inhale to up dog. Engage Mula Bandha. Roll the inner thighs back. Dome the upper back as you press back into downward facing dog. Do that 2 more times with breath. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, press back. One last time. Take your feet a generous step forward. Keep them almost as wide as the mat. Bend your knees, squat down into Malasana. Press your knees open with your elbows. Bring your palms together. Lift your heart, widen your collarbones. Lift and spread your toes. Lift your arches. Ground the pinky toe side of your foot. Release your hands down to the mat. Lift your hips up. Gently roll all the way up to standing. Sun breath. Inhale the arms out and up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale the arms out and down. We're going to squat 5 times. Bend your knees, reach your arms up. And exhale, straighten your legs. 4, 3, 2. Get as low as you can. Keep your heels down if you can. And now gently rinse the spine by twisting side to side. Let your arms flop across your body. We're going to do a breathing exercise called the breath of joy. This is a 3-part inhale and a 1-part exhale. The feet step a little bit closer together. Inhale the arms forward. Inhale, swing the arms to the sides. Inhale the arms forward again. Exhale through the mouth. Five more times. Inhale, arms up overhead. Hold the breath in. 5, 4, 3. On your exhale, create an orb of light around your body. Healing energy, positive energy, whatever it is you need. Create a force field that will nourish and protect. Check in again, hand to belly, hand to heart. Walk up to the top of your mat and find Tadasana. Root through your feet. Place your palms together in Anjali Mudra. Inhale, reach your arms out and up to the sky. Grab your right wrist, bend to the left. Come back through center, stretch to the left, bend to the right. Come back through center, Kali Mudra. Lift your toes, come down into a chair pose. Hold 5, 4, get as low as you can. Keep your chest open, squeeze the glutes, activate the legs, weight in the heels. Stand up, lower your hands to your low back. Gentle standing camel as you inhale, release back. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Interlace your fingers, stretch your arms overhead. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg back and up, 3-leg dog. Exhale, coil your thigh to your belly. Place your foot between your hands. Lift onto your fingertips. Straighten the front leg, dig the heel in, pull the toes back. Bend the front knee, drop the back knee, arch your back as you breathe in. 2 more times, front leg straight. Bend the front knee, stretch the chest forward, drop the back knee. 1 more time, toes pull back. Chest lifts. Neutral lunge. Activate the strength in your legs. Roll up into a high lunge, arms to the sky. Ground the back heel, spiral open into warrior 2. Straighten the front leg, angle the back toes slightly open, come down into Skandasana, low side lunge. You can use your hands on the ground if that's helpful. And gently shift side to side 3 times. Each hip will feel a little bit different. Emotion, frustration, awareness may arise. And just go with it. Spin back to the front of your mat. Plant your hands, sweep the leg back and up. Stretch through your shoulders. Lower the leg. Push off your toes, high plank. Bend your elbows, chaturanga, or any variation that you're working with. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg to the sky. Exhale, place the foot in between your hands. Tent your fingertips, palms are off the mat, fingertips on the mat. Straighten the front leg, pull the toes back. Bend the front knee, drop the back knee, lift the chest. Draw back and forward, back and forward. One more time. And a neutral lunge. Ground through your feet, activate your legs, roll up into a high lunge, energize your fingers. Spiral open into warrior two. Straighten the front leg, come down into skandasana. And 3 times with each leg, you can keep your hands off of the floor, express them in any way that feels good, or keep your hands on the ground for support. Shift forward again over the front leg. Sweep the leg back into the sky. Lower the leg. Move through chaturanga vinyasa or any other connecting movements that will give you what you need. It can be something a little more strenuous or a little more restful. Pause for 3 more breaths in downward facing dog. Either walk or hop your feet to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, fold over your legs. Roll all the way up to standing on your tiptoes. Interlace your fingers overhead. Stretch your palms to the sky. Lower down, squat. Lift all the way back up onto your toes. And exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Take a cleansing breath, recenter. We're going to come into some standing balances. Root through your right foot. I'm doing the mirror image. Left ankle crosses over right thigh. Standing figure 4 balance. Get as low as you can here to feel something in your left hip. Move the hips around a bit and feel where there's resistance and feel where there's willingness. Notice the point that's preventing you from changing the shape anymore. Maybe it's a bone coming up against another bone. Maybe it's tightness in your muscles. Maybe it's resistance coming from your mind or your emotions. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're hungry. Maybe you're focusing on something else. Keep bringing the focus back to your hip. Grab onto your heel, stand up, press the inner thigh with the back of the arm. Keep your eyes focused on something that's not moving. And either stay in this shape or extend the leg as far out to the side as it will go. Grow taller. Point the front of the shin and the knee toward the ceiling rather than rotating the leg too far back. And notice the sensation in the sacroiliac joint. One more breath, reach a little bit taller. And come into a half lotus. If that doesn't feel good in your knee, your option here is to come into tree pose. And as we come into the forward fold, you can come back into a figure 4 and come down from here. If you're taking half lotus, 2 options. You can hold onto the toes with the hands on that side, or you can wrap the opposite hand around and grab onto your toes here. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, come into a fold. So here's where, if you're not coming into half lotus, you also don't have to hold onto the foot. Variation is coming down with figure 4. You could also, if you have a block, put your hands on your block. Take a couple of more breaths in this shape. Allow the heel to press into your low belly and give yourself an abdominal massage. Release the weight of your head. You can play with balance. Notice how much you're relying on your hands to prevent you from falling down. Work on straightening out the leg all the way. Find the stopping point. To come up, ground and root through the foot. Activate the muscles in the legs. Come up, use your eyes, your gaze, your drishti. Unfold the leg. Interlace your fingers behind the thigh and 3 times bend and extend. Release your foot back down. 1 Tadasana Kriya. Inhale onto your tiptoes, full body stretch. Exhale, drop down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, heels down, arms down, palms to heart. Close your eyes. Hand to belly, hand to heart. Check in. Notice what you feel in your hips, in your legs, in your heart, and in your mind. Notice how it's all swirling and integrating. And there are inevitable blockages that exist in all of us. And our time on the mat is a really great opportunity to start to figure out where those blockages are. Blockages create patterns and habits. So just notice how you go into autopilot and how you can stay more present. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Root through the opposite foot. Cross ankle over thigh. Palms together in front of your heart. Bend the standing knee. Lift your tail. Stretch your chest forward. Tip the pelvis forward. Lengthen through the waist. Play with how much you can bend the knee on the standing leg. I find it helpful to keep my foot flexed and my toes spread. I feel like that supports my ankle. You can try it and see if that feels good for you. Keep playing with the angles you can make in the bones where your thighs connect to your hips. Lift one side of your hip, drop it down, slide it forward, pull it back, and just explore the mobility in the hips. One more breath. Grab onto your heel. Point your toes to the side, open your knee to the side. Keep your knee bent to start and get flat. Stretch through the left side of the body, the side of the body with the straight arm and the straight leg. Reach tall, tall, tall. Focus your eyes. Find a little smile, relax your face. Doesn't have to be so serious. And extend the leg. Reach even taller. Notice where the bones come into contact with other bones. Notice where the connective tissue is holding your familiar patterns of movement and is giving you a little bit of resistance. And lean into that resistance to expand a bit more. Push off of the resistance and use that tension to go someplace you haven't gone yet. 3 more breaths. Release the arm, fold the knee, half lotus or tree pose or figure 4. Choose your own adventure. Hold on to the toes with one or the other hands, or no hands at all. Find your forward fold. Release the weight of your head. Work on straightening the standing knee without locking it or hyperextending it. The more I straighten the leg, the more my leg trembles, and this is a good thing. The trembling is creating new pathways, new patterns, breaking down our habitual patterns of movement and stillness. Squeeze the heel into the belly and relieve some stagnation, something that's been stuck in the gut, in the lower belly. Breathe into it, circulate it. Gently come back up. Stabilize from the inside of your body. Unfold the leg 3 times. Bend and straighten. And release the leg. Inhale onto your tiptoes, full body stretch up. Lower the heels, come all the way down. Create space in the sacroiliac joint with this movement. All the way up onto your tiptoes. And exhale, heels down, arms down. This time just the arms. Sun breath. One more time, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Find your seat and come onto your back. Release your arms by your sides. Reach your arms back by your ears. Make a triangle with your first finger and your thumb, and let your arms rest on the mat. Lean your knees in towards each other to create space in the sacroiliac joint. Pause for a moment. This is a good place to stop if you need to stop. Take your own shavasana, or if you'd like to keep going with a few more movements, stick around, stay with me. So we're going to find the movements of the sacrum. Have your thighs parallel to each other, toes pointing straight ahead. The first movement you may be familiar with is this forward and backward movement. So we're arching the low back and pressing the lower back down. The butt stays down the whole time, just the pelvis is tipping forward and back. These movements can feel quite euphoric because we're circulating the fluid that the spinal cord and the brain are floating in. Let's come back to a neutral spine. This time it's a side-to-side movement. The thighs stay parallel. The right seam of the sacroiliac joint pushes down. Roll back through center. Left seam pushes down. Right pushes up. Center. So it's a side-to-side tipping. Think about a ship rocking side to side in a rough sea. It's the opposite movement to the first one that we did. One thigh lengthens, one knee pushes forward, one hip, ASIS, pushes up toward the sky. Come back to neutral. The next one is a lifting and lowering movement with the iliac crest. So this is a similar movement to walking. The left side of the waist shortens, the right side of the waist lengthens, the thighs stay parallel, and the sacrum is kind of moving on a diagonal within its little zone. The next one is a circle, circling the circumference of the sacrum. Let's just go 3 times one way and 3 times the other way. And this movement is combining all of the other ones that we've done. And after you've gone 3 times in each direction, come back to neutral, the sacrum flat on the ground. We're just going to lift the sacrum and then drop it down. So you're engaging your muscles to lift and then just let go. 3 more times. Take a pause with a neutral spine and notice. Cross right ankle over left thigh into a figure 4 shape. Open your arms like a T. Drop your foot to the floor on the left. Come back through center. Drop your knee to the floor on the right. 2 more times. back through neutral. Cross your leg all the way over. Drop your knees to the left, turn your head to the right, and stay for 10 breaths. Find the twist all the way through the neck. Keep your shoulders grounded, both shoulders flat on the ground. Work on releasing the muscles of the glutes. You don't need them in this shape. Let gravity do the work. Soften the belly. Receive the breath as deep down into your belly as you can get it. After 10 slow breaths, come back to center. Adjust your hips so they're even. Pick your legs up, grab onto the pinky toe side of each foot into Supta Gomukhasana, reclining cow face pose or shoelace pose. And just play with the angles. Notice how different it can feel when you bend or straighten the legs. If you rock a little bit to the left or the right. Find the empty spaces. Move into the spaciousness. Keep your jaw relaxed and use this as an opportunity to notice how you may be holding tension in the jaw or the mouth. One more breath. Release the legs. Give them a nice shimmy up in the sky. Circle the ankles 3 times each way. Bring your feet to the ground. Knees side to side. 3 times total in each direction. And back to center. Same thing with the other leg. Cross left ankle over right thigh. Drop the foot to the floor on the right. Glide back to center. Bring the knee to the ground on the other side. Keep the shoulders grounded. Keep the abdominals activated. Keep lengthening the back. And don't be afraid to keep picking up your hips so that you have enough space so that they can adjust, so that nothing's going to get crammed or jammed anywhere. After 3 times on each side, cross the legs all the way. Drop your knees to the right. You can hold on to the knee if that's helpful. Turn your head to the left. Rest on the side of your head. Notice where you're holding in your body. Let go in your shoulders. Let go in your jaw. Let go in your belly. Nice soft belly to receive the breath. Notice what you're thinking about. And keep making these micro adjustments of release. I notice in my own body, I'll release my shoulders and upper back, and then I'll bring my body awareness a bit lower in my body. And once I've made it down to my toes, the tension has come back in my shoulders. So it's a continuous process of just letting go, letting go, letting go. And the more we pay attention to our body and our habits of holding tension, the more we can be present and not let that tension consume us or keep us stuck or limit us. We can consciously and unconsciously engage and release. Come back through center, adjust the spine, pick up your feet, Supta Gomukhasana. This side in my body feels very different than the first side. If this doesn't work, figure 4 is your option. Discover something new about this shape. Last 3 breaths. And come back to center. Uncross your legs. This time, hold on to your knees. Make 3 circles with your thighs from your hips. 3 times the other way. Ground your feet, lift your hips into a bridge pose. Keep your knees pointing forward and your toes pointing forward. Keep the pressure out of your neck. Breathe into the fronts of the hips, the hip flexors. Hip flexors are the quads and the iliopsoas. Find some hip extension. Lower down, one bone at a time. Either repeat that same pose, come into bridge again, or if you'd like, you can come into wheel. For wheel, flip your hands so your fingers are pointing to your shoulders, elbows pointing to the sky. Step your feet in closer to your body and lift onto your tiptoes. Make sure that the toes and the knees don't bow out to the side. That can undo everything good that we just did for our sacrum and low back and hips. So keep the feet parallel, but the feet can be as wide as you want them to be. In wheel, pay attention to yourself lifting up and lowering down. Those are the places where you can tweak something in the low back. So slowly with control, lift up, release the weight of the head, send the hips up, activate the inner thighs, explore the shape, notice where your hands and your feet are. You can move your feet. It's a bit more difficult to move and adjust your hands, but you can see how it feels to step your feet wider or to bring them in closer or to step them farther away. Play a little bit, and when you're ready to come down, make sure your feet are far enough apart so you have space to land and far enough away from your hips so that you don't collapse. And with control, lower yourself back down, roll down one bone at a time. Draw your knees into your chest, and 3 times Apanasana Kriya. Knees come in, and they push away. Happy baby. Hold the outer edges of your feet, rock side to side across your low back. And now you can take the time to come into a restorative Shavasana or add anything else to your practice that would feel good. Thank you so very much for practicing with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.